Good evening, everyone. Hope you guys are doing well and staying dry in this crazy weather we're having, at least for us Southern Californians. And the book of Galatians is just a book of grace. We've been talking about being set free by grace, and there's just so much here. And just kind of as we gleaned, as we walked through the passage, couple things that just stick out that I would want to reemphasize and get you guys to be thinking about. A lot of questions are about discipleship. How do I disciple someone? And we saw there where Paul said him and Barnabas took Titus with them. And I talked about how, discipleship isn't always a program, but discipleship is just living life with someone, taking them along with you. That goes for those that we're trying to reach in the church, and maybe we're sharing the gospel with, and maybe God's given us an opportunity to lead them to the Lord. And then, what's next? Discipleship. Or maybe that's, a believer that we've met. Maybe it's a coworker or whatnot. We're just encouraging them, in the Lord. Some of the ways that we are able to do this is just to befriend them, have them over to our house. The idea of taking them along with us. And then in the family level, as we think about discipling our kids, as we even think about discipling one another, I think the most powerful, and I should say effective disciple in my life has been my wife. And I think that for me in her life, it would be the same thing. Those of you in her life group, you can ask her. It's something that, we're just living life together. We're working through issues together, not just like issues between us, but just life issues. We're partnering together in those. And we're just allowing the scriptures to guide us and to lead us, and praying and seeking God, and determining his will and looking to the word. And I think with the kids, I brought up Deuteronomy, the great Shema, Deuteronomy chapter 6. In verse 7, it says, "You shall teach them diligently to your children, and you shall talk of them when you sit in your houses, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up." And, I could say that, now that our kids are older, and just kind of what we did. Of course, we didn't do it perfect by any means, and we struggled and stumbled, and try to figure it out as we went. But just we did have a vision of let's bring our kids along with us in ministry, in serving the Lord, not just because I'm a pastor, but Debbie would do this just in the church, just we want our kids to realize as they grow up, like, the church is important, and the body is important, and other people in your life. It's not just us and our family. I think we saw that so much as kind of like this American, like, just me and my family and what's good for my family, and maybe an overemphasis on that, not realizing, well, what's good for you and your family is that you be a part of the family of God, and that you have other people, that can speak into your kids' lives. And so just bringing them along with us, not just like going off and doing like adult things and not having the kids involved, and just teaching them the word of God in life, when we're driving down the road, when we're and as I shared this Sunday, like, I think some of the best times is when they lay down, especially when they're littler, you're tucking them in, and they lay down, just to speak of the things of God with them. You have full undivided attention usually, because oftentimes they don't want to go to bed. So to talk to them, and they're listening, and so these are very, very special times that we might, usually it's like, well, I'm tired, go to bed. I need to kind of like some me time. And, it's just so important for us to take that time. Of course, it doesn't need to be a long time, but to take that time to pray with them, to talk with them, so whatever, and I think that's just really important, and of course that wasn't the main theme of the passage, but I do feel like a kind of a nugget, something to chew on, something to think about. And the liberty that it talked about, that liberty by which Christ has made us free, that we're not, gonna let that be taken from us, and how the grace of God teaches us to live godly, not to teach us to live loosely and just expect that we're forgiven because we're saved by grace. And that Titus 2 passage that we looked at, Titus chapter 2, verses 11 through 14 there, so important. The grace of God teaches us to not denying ungodliness and worldly lust, that we should live soberly and righteously, and all these beautiful truths. So so much to glean. We talked a little bit about like the gospel for the Gentiles and the gospel for the Jews. It's the same gospel, but it's shared in different ways. It's the same message, but it's a different approach. And we looked at the scriptures, and I won't go back into all that, but how Paul, when he spoke to pagans, he spoke of the God of creation. When he spoke to Jews, he spoke of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Just kind of knowing your audience and how to share with them, whether it's you're preaching the gospel, whether it's you're, making disciples. Sometimes that's like an official term, but just we are disciples and we are making disciples. It's just who we are. So whether that's me talking to my wife, talking to my kids, talking to my neighbor, I'm a disciple of Jesus. I'm a witness of Jesus. So whatever it is that I'm sharing, just kind of know, like, who you're talking to. I'm going to reformat maybe some phrases. Like I'm not going to use Christianese with my neighbor that doesn't know the Lord. I'm going to, use more of terms that he's going to relate with and understand. And, I'm not just like full force preaching the gospel to my neighbor every time I talk to him, but, just befriending him and just sharing and loving him and caring for him. And of course, bringing in who I am in Jesus to him. And so, I think that applies in so many ways. Coworkers, and we did use that analogy between like husband and wife, and how like a wife can't treat her husband like she treats her kids, and a wife can't treat, and a husband can't treat his wife like he treats his coworkers or his buddies, and there's just a different approach that we take, and you can take that analogy to every area of life, but just being wise and discerning on who it is I'm speaking with, and what is my relationship, and how would God have me to relate with them. So of course, so much more I could say. I don't want to make the video too long, so I'll cut it off here, but just love you guys, praying for you. And as I visit the life groups, it's really a joy for me to see just the conversation, and just kind of how we're taking and digging into the word in a different level. And so enjoy it. Just a couple weeks left before we go back to one month of midweeks, and just pray the Lord directs you guys, blesses you, and that you find community here in the life groups and in our church, and that you experience the love of Christ from others. And I encourage you to reach out to people, and as you do, you're going to find you're going to build your own community as they reach out to you. And it's just part of being a Christian. So Lord bless you guys. Enjoy one another. Enjoy the Lord. And hopefully you've enjoyed the food tonight. God bless you.